The Royal Rumble match itself. This is the Royal Rumble, Pete, that they never ever use clips of in highlight or retrospective packages. It's like it doesn't exist. And when I was watching it, I must have seen it a few times over the years. When I was watching it, I had no recollection of any of this at all. You can see how thin they are. They began bringing in outside names to just fill some of the spots. So you end up with, and we'll talk about them as they come in, but Dory Funk Jr. is in there.
Good God.
All
Good
Japan's
God.
Takao Amori.
Yeah.
The USWA's Doug Gilbert. And the Headhunters, who were sort of journeymen. They'd worked around in WWC in Puerto Rico. They did Japan, quite a lot of sort of deathmatch, small independents. They at least looked spectacular. They always seemed like they would be a good fit for the WWF. But I think at the time, the WWF just had bigger fat men than the Headhunters, who in this are not called the Headhunters. They're called the Squat Squad or something. I mean, it's just...
What is that? Yeah, it's very, very bizarre.
Terry Funk actually turned them down, the WWF, for this Royal Rumble. They do mention in commentary a bit later, they go, Terry Funk, we did ask him to be here, but he's got commitments in Germany.
He's in Germany. He's going to be watching in Germany. Well, he's made it very clear he's busy, so he's probably not going to be watching this in Germany, to be honest.
Not at all.
No.
I think probably, I mean, he must have been working for Otto Vance's CWA, which did pay well. But the very fact that you get your call and you just go, no, I'm not going to the WWF. I'm working with Otto Vance. You know,
I'm going to get some Deutschmarks, thank you.
It's a good exchange rate. But it's Triple H who starts this Royal Rumble, comes in at number one, having lost the free-for-all. Absolutely no response from the crowd. Absolutely nothing. And the second person who comes in, it's the country honky-tonk. It's the Hogman, Henry O. Godwin, the pig farmer. Henry O. Godwin, it spells out Hog, 1996 WWF, well done.
Yeah.
Triple H's early days are so demeaning. They had no idea that he would ever become anything. And they are putting him in long feuds that go on for 6 months with fat pig farming people. Hogman. Dominated by a pig man. Yeah, the pig man. This is the first Royal Rumble as well where everyone has their entrance music played as they come in. Previously, they'd only done it for people who came in at 1 and 2 and the eventual winner. Trivia. Yeah. Number 3, Bob Backlund. They still think he wants to be president. They're still going on about that. I wish they'd done more of that. I enjoyed it a great deal. At one point, Mr. Perfect says he's a graduate of Princeton, isn't he? And Vince McMahon goes, I don't think so. But Bob Backlund didn't learn to read until he was in his 30s. And I like the fact that Vince is like, it's fine for us to say anything on air, apart from that Bob Backlund might be intelligent. He's happy to lie about Sergeant Slaughter's military career. But saying Bob Backlund...
Undertaker's dead.
Yes, yeah. Jerry Lawler isn't a problem. Out comes Jerry Lawler at number 4.
Yeah.
Wearing a disgusting gold and black paisley Tarzan.
He looks horrible.
He really does.
So much.
When you see the costume up close, it's actually quite well made, and it, you know, in any other, it'll be an elegant pair of carpet slippers. It's so disgusting in this. There's a moment where Jerry Lawler grabs Henry O. Godwin's slop bucket for the pigs, and Henry O. Godwin snatches it back, and he holds it up in the ring, and the crowd cheer. A bucket of slops. And
they won't stop talking about slop. It's like they're just constantly talking about stinky slop. Everyone's talking about slop. The Hogman's in control of the slop. There's no place for that stinky slop, they say. Yeah. And it's like, stop talking about slop.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley covered in slop, Backlund covered in slop. Here comes the king. He got some of it too.
There's no place for that stinky slop.
And oh my goodness, wow, look at that.
Talking about a Gallagher concert.
All these adults coming together and going, and then you throw the stinky slop on, and it goes all over your this, that, and it's just like there's a bit where an arena of fans cheer a bucket of slop. I think is wrestling's lowest moment. I really do. It's so degrading for everyone. What I did like about this, and you can see that Triple H is an arch, manipulator, and he is becoming the cerebral assassin. Is when Henry O. Godwin throws that bucket of slop over the 3 guys who are outside the ring and have their backs to him. Triple H knows it's coming, and he very, very much at the last minute decides, I'm not having that go on me. And he just ducks out of the way. Lawler and Backlund take the lot. And he would have come out afterwards and he'd be like, "Hey, I ribbed you, Jerry. I ribbed you, Bob. I ribbed you." And it was just a case of him just going, "Fuck this. This is not for me.
Not getting anywhere near
Not
this
for
shit,
me at all." When the slop goes over, Mr. Perfect shouts out, "It's like we're at a Gallagher concert." And I was like, "Oh, this is 96. Is this a reference to Oasis?" Right? No, it was Gallagher, one of the most popular and recognisable American comedians during the 1980s. The reason they mention him with the slop is I love this about comedians who didn't translate. He basically, his main act was he would smash a watermelon, right? That got him several HBO specials and 13 one-hour-long comedy specials for Showtime.
You could so get away with that shit back then.
In subsequent years, his routine has been criticised by reviewers for its alleged frequent homophobia, paranoid overtones, and racism. How can you end up being homophobic when you're smashing a watermelon? What I did find out is there was pleasingly a Gallagher brothers rivalry with Gallagher. So Gallagher's younger brother Ron asked for permission to perform the watermelon smashing routine live. Right, okay. So he said, "Can we do it?" And the two brothers looked very similar. So the younger one was given permission to do the act, and he would perform in small venues under the name Gallagher 2. Right now,
just do Gallagher. Who cares? Jesus Christ,
Gallagher cares because in some instances, the Ron's act Gallagher 2 was promoted in a way that Gallagher 1 felt left unclear whether or not it was Gallagher 1 or Gallagher 2, and he ended up taking his brother. He sued his brother for trademark violations and false advertising in 2000, and court sided with him. Ron Gallagher 2 was banned from performing any act that impersonated his brothers in small clubs and venues, and he was also prohibited from intentionally bearing likeness to his brother, which I love.
The scene is so typically wrestling. That's so enjoyable.
One last thing here, it does mention that given the messy nature of Gallagher's shows, on some occasions audience members have sustained injuries during the performances. In 1990, at a show at the Coach House in San Juan Capistrano, a woman in the audience was struck on the head by a heavy plush penguin that had a fire extinguisher inside it. It's such a witless act that you can end up having an audience member. So you're lobbing around a penguin with a fire extinguisher in it. Unbelievable.
Just in a Motel 6, just jamming a fucking mini fire extinguisher into a fucking toy.
Getting out there and just lobbing it at the audience. And you smacks a woman in the head. You go, "Hey, by the way, I'm Gallagher 2, by the way. Not
Don't blame Gallagher 1 for this."
I hate that Gallagher 1.
I really don't like the blue with the blue jeans.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, well, do you like my shoes?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
That means it's not like mine.
Do we have to have this on?
Yeah, come on, open it up. How stuffy, Molly. Open it up.
Yeah. See?
There,
I
see?
think everybody likes this more. You're just so dry. Why? Here's what men do.
In at number 5, Bob Holly. "Start your engines," shouts Vince. 6, King Mabel. I mean, this is unspeakably poor so far. Finally, at number 7, you get Jake Roberts, and he is a proper star, and he comes in with an absolutely massive snake, and the crowd do go wild to see that snake.
Well, that's the thing, that the big pops were like, so Vince gets quite excited, I think, when Bob pops in, "Start your engines," and then Mr. Perfect in the same sentence says, "I can't wait for Vader to come out." It's just like, while he's still running into the fucking ring, give him the chance.
Who's coming in now? Bob Holly, start your engines!
I can't wait for Vader. I wonder when he's coming out. Wait till you see this guy, McMahon.
There is something funny about Bob Holly, is he would become a good hand, but he's stuck with such a shit gimmick. Such a shit gimmick. Properly, they cut his legs off with that one.
Yeah, the pop that the snake gets and the pop that the slot bucket, it shouldn't be good. You shouldn't be pleased with your work today, Jake the Snake Roberts, because at the end of the day, the same reaction we got from someone just throwing a bit of chicken soup in a bucket around the place. So, but the pop is incredible. The kids go fucking wild for that snake, and everyone reacts beautifully.
What sort sort of funny about that particular bit is this is one of the few times where you really see there's a handler there. So when Jake comes into the ring, that snake, the handler is running round the ring to sort of try and get to its head at all times with the idea that it can't just get into the audience. If it gets into the audience, they are not getting the deposit back on that. And he is running round with it. And it's the first time where you sort of see, I suppose, because Jake will be in the Rumble for a while and they're going to put it back in the bag. It's the first time you go, all right, so that's not Jake Snake then. This whole gimmick is a lie. That's furious. Although that said, when he does have snakes, he does tend to mistreat them. So probably not the worst thing that it was taken away by someone else. In at number 8 is Dory Funk Jr., looking every one of his 55 years with another 20 on top. He's old, he's bald, but he's decided to keep long strands of hair at the back, which is just the worst. If you're like making a film and you go, there's an old bloke who's mad and he lives in a dusty attic room and they go and like, open the door and he's been in there for 3 years, you would give him the same haircut that you give Dory Funk Jr. I mean, it's just such a bad look. Funk, his real name is Dorrance.
Dorrance?
Dorrance. He's the older brother of Terry Funk. That sink in, the older brother of Terry Funk. And he was the NWA champion in the early 1970s. He held that belt when it was the most prestigious belt really in the world for over 4 years, which is a length of time second only to Lou Thez, and no one has come close to that since. He did have a prior stint in the WWF as Hoss Funk in 85 to 86. And remarkably, Dory Funk Jr. is still going strong today. He's 81. He trains people. You see him at lots of conventions and things. I mean, he is a remarkable survivor. The very fact that you can see the number of people from this year who have died, and Dory Funk is not one of them, is just, the man is like shoe leather tough.
Well, especially because his dad died demonstrating a wrestling move at 58 or 59 or so. Yeah, so he was having like a barbecue and he brought all his friends round and a few wrestlers and stuff, and he took on in turn all of the men that were at the party, and on I think his third wrestling move that he was trying to put on someone. So he gets through 2 of them and he goes, "Oh, I'm not as young as I used to be," and then he died on the third. Like he had a heart attack at 58. And one of the quotes was from somebody who'd been to one of his parties. He said, "Senior, Dory Funk obviously, every year he threw a thing for the guys that wrestled there. He'd throw a barbecue at his ranch, they'd castrate some bulls, have a big barbecue, lots of food, lots of drinks." Why does he bring his friends around to castrate his bulls? That's what I want to know.
It's a sort of Texas version of going, "Hey, we're having a house painting party." Everybody grab a gelding wheel. Repulsive. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Good God.
At 9th, Pete, out comes Yokozuna, and we finally get our first elimination. Bob Backlund is eliminated. This has been going 14 minutes, and they've only just had an elimination. It's just such a good way to have the crowd sit there and just go, "Oh, is this going to get going?" It's so badly booked. Number 10, out comes the Kid, who has interfered in the match that Razor Ramon had with Gold Dusters, cost him the Intercontinental belt. And so Kid comes in and Razor Ramon just storms straight out and is chasing him. He's trying to get his hands on him. That is the moment in this whole match where the crowd are really excited.
Yeah.
What you'd normally have had is you'd have had Razor Ramon would definitely thrown the Kid out, and that would be a bit of revenge and that would build the feud. And I couldn't work out why you didn't have Ramon just chuck the Kid over and they went, "You're out." And it's only later on, as Shawn Michaels gets thrown over the top rope, you go, "Oh, okay, they can't do it." He gets thrown over the top rope by someone who's been eliminated. So they've made it clear in this one. Okay, we can't have any of that. So instead, Razor just runs after him and Kid's like, "I fucking won that one." And it's a real disappointment. The crowd wanted to see Razor get a little bit of revenge, and instead he just did a run and got dragged away. A little bit of weird trivia. This is the only time that Razor Ramon ever entered the ring when there was an active Royal Rumble match taking place. He was on, I think, 4 times the Royal Rumble card, but he always had singles matches. And this is the only time he ever entered the Royal Rumble itself. Just odd things how people fall through the gaps. Number 11 is the Japanese star Takao Mori. He gets the standard Oriental Express theme tune music because he's Japanese and they all have the same theme music. He's really not allowed to do anything in this match. There's a funny thing where they brought in outsiders, and then the people who work in the WWF are like, "Well, I'm not going to let him get over at my expense." So when Amori gets into the ring, Mabel just grabs him and just leans on him. And he just shuts him down. So he can't do anything. So They've got this bloke over from Japan. They've put him in, and everyone's going, absolutely not working with you. No. Don't do anything. In at 12th, Savio Vega. Absolutely not over. They worked so hard to push him. The crowd are silent when he came out. They might as well have not bothered. Yokozuna eliminates Mabel. That's big fat men that everybody likes seeing. And then Amori gets pitched out by Jake Roberts. None of this has been worked out. But finally, in at unlucky 13, in comes Vader, making his WWF pay-per-view debut. At this point, Pete, the ring has 10 people in it. This is the easiest booking of a big man monster in history. You have Vader come in and he clears the ring. Instead, I wrote down everything he does for the next 3 minutes. He hits Bob Holly, headbutts him, wanders off. Holly kicks Vader. Vader hits Holly. Holly kicks Vader. Vader hits Holly, wanders off to the corner, looks around, wanders back out to the middle, flips Savio Vega back in over the rope instead of pushing him out. Hits Vega, gets chopped by Vega, hits Savio Vega, pushes him into Yokozuna, hit by Jake, pulls up his trunks, and then in at number 14 is Doug Gilbert from the USWA. And in those 3 minutes, they have set the absolute tone of what Vader's WWF career will be. He is just another useless fat lad. They have him face off with Yokozuna at one point, and the crowd cheer. And instead of having a fight, Vader just sort of like saunters off. I mean, it's just nuts. He then clotheslines Jake, who goes over the top. Now he starts beating up Doug Gilbert, treating him like a jobber. In comes one of the squat team, and Vader knocks him out. Why they didn't do that in the first 2 minutes, and why they waited?
Yeah, because they were always going to go, weren't they, the squat team?
Of course.
Nobody cares about them.
6 minutes too late to make Vader. They give him 5.5 minutes of the impression that he's this bumbling idiot who can't do anything. It's such a bad piece of work. When the SWAT team come in, both of them, Vince McMahon absolutely slavers. He goes, the beef is in there. Obsessed with beef.
Beefy boys.
But the people who Vader is eliminating in Doug Gilbert and the SWAT team are people that the crowd have never seen before. So slightly their eliminations, you're a bit like, are they jobbers? Oh, Vader can really dominate the jobbers. Wow. Well done, big man. Owen Hart comes in. He's taking credit for Shawn Michaels getting a concussion in the ring rather than being beat up by a load of people in a nightclub when he was off his tits. Then out comes Shawn Michaels.
All right, who's it going to be now? Who's going to join the fray? Here he comes! Here he comes!
You better save some of that energy for the ring, McMahon.
Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Michaels!
And the confidence that the man is brimming with, Pete. He knows he is going to be main eventing WrestleMania 12. He knows he's going to be beating his loathed rival, Bret Hart, for the belt. He knows that Bret Hart doesn't want him to win that belt, which makes it even sweeter. He also comes in here and he realizes, I am not just the only proper mega superstar in this match. I am the only person who could say here, I am legitimately the best in the world. And his confidence is entirely justified and absolutely disgusting. It's so horrible. Oh, it's so horrible. He quickly emulates both Vader and Yokozuna in one go. He then does a gorilla press on the 1-2-3 kid, and out he goes. I mean, Vader starts fighting with Yokozuna on the outside, and then Vader comes back into the ring, attacks Shawn Michaels, gorilla presses him, and throws him out of the ring. Michaels isn't eliminated. Normally in Royal Rumbles, it's however you go over the top rope. There's been loads of interference and stuff. But obviously, because they had this spot, they've decided to get Vader over much too late in the day. They've gone, well, Michaels then will have to fight back from these really, really difficult odds. He's been chucked out over the top and landed on the floor. So they've had to change the ruling of the Royal Rumble. As far as I'm concerned, Michaels did not win the Royal Rumble. It was won by Diesel, and Diesel should have had an Iron Man match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12. Out comes, when this happens, the only man in the WWF who is actually bigger than Vader. That is the then WWF president, Gorilla Monsoon.
Yes.
Lead to Gorilla's final angle on television where he was attacked by Vader. He would make appearances sort of as a timekeeper in the years between then and his passing. But it's lovely to see Gorilla. It's lovely to see him active and excited and, mixing with the top talent. I was really delighted.
Yeah, not on comms, just kind of actually being part of angles and kind of, being this present.
He gets, funnily, in a way that his commentary could be slightly sort of banal. He, as the president, when he's talking, he's got a real easygoing attitude that makes him seem like he was both cocky and rates himself incredibly highly as being hard, which I loved.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. We see a lot of him at the end. In comes Hakushi and Tatanka. There's a moment where Tatanka's music is playing and they just cut to a sort of generic shot of the ring. And Hakushi just seems to drop out of the sky onto Owen Hart. I've no idea where he was, but he's just thump straight onto him. You can see that Hakushi in this match is doing a lot of work with Owen Hart and Shawn Michaels, and he clearly really wanted to start working with those two because they knew the matches would be good. He had actually had in the months before quite a lot of house matches with Owen Hart, and I should imagine they were pretty spectacular. I think he only had one match with Shawn Michaels in his whole career, and it was a tag team match where Hart and Michaels teamed up against Hakushi and Jerry Lawler in July 94. One person in that match, I think, dragging it down, which is a shame. In comes Diesel. Someone holds up a sign that says, Doug Griffith, take it in the ring. And I don't know what that means. Like us, at this point, Pete, the WWF have totally forgotten what number they're at. They're not mentioning that anymore. Out comes Kama, the ringmaster, Steve Austin, making his pay-per-view debut, looking very much like Adrian Edmondson. Austin at this point knows he's going bald, but he's like, if I have it really closely cropped, then I will fool people. I should say, that doesn't stop him being a real man. Right?
Don't have a go at him, mate. God, you're obsessed.
I work with a lot of, especially TV directors who utilise exactly that. They've gone bald, but they do the Austin Ringmaster haircut. Come on, just accept it.
Come on, guys.
Stop lying. Stop. Your hair is lying. Austin quickly does knee Bob Holly out. And they just, again, one of those things in the Royal Rumble where Holly was obviously told, we're going to book you strong. You're going to be in this Rumble for nearly an hour. And you go, that is good. Yeah, that does make me... And you realise, you just go, I've just done a very long job and I haven't really got any glory from it. He gets knocked out. No one goes, ooh. They just go, that's it. Barry Horowitz then comes in to the traditional Jewish tune of Hava Nagila, which I did like.
Oh, my goodness, you talk about an underdog.
It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Barry Horowitz.
You call him what you will. Barry Horowitz could very well win this thing. Anyone could win.
I am going to be the winner. I'm confident and I'm happy.
He gets hit by Diesel, and Horowitz, again, like Hakushi, runs straight over to Shawn Michaels, and he starts working with Michaels. He's obviously hoping that Michaels is going to like what he sees, right? And that Michaels is going to get back afterwards and go, hey, who I want to work with in a program for the WWF title? That kid, Barry Horowitz. And I mean, it's not going to happen, Barry. It's just so hopeful that my heart soared. I thought it was wonderful.
I am going to be the winner. I'm confident and I'm happy.
Diesel chucks out Triple H. In comes Fatu, who's doing his Make a Difference Fatu period where he's just sort of going, kids don't do drugs. And in comes Isaac Yankem. I mean, at this point, you've got Fatu is Rikishi, you've got Isaac Yankem is Kane, you've got Shawn Michaels in there, you've got Stone Cold, and you watch this bit and you go, the idea that any of these people will ever headline a show with the exception of Shawn Michaels is unfathomable. They do a little bit where Owen Hart does an enziguri kick on Shawn Michaels to the back of his head, and Michaels is laid out. They played up this concussions thing, and the reason he had this concussion was because he wouldn't stop harassing a woman in a nightclub, didn't stop when her male friend said, please leave her alone. And then he got beaten the shit out of because he couldn't defend himself because he was so loaded on a load of illegal shit. I mean, it's just the idea that you then go, how can we make him more sympathetic? Let's have the crowd go, oh no. It's so gross. It's the fact that that's happened and they go, we can turn you into a hero has made him a bigger monster. And then, just when you're sort of going, this needs star power, in comes Marty fucking Nettie.
Here comes Marty Jannetty.
I properly popped when this happened. And when he and Michaels start to fight, the crowd go nuts. They really, really love it. I was so pleased to see Jannetty at a level where I did find myself thinking they could have built them up for an In Your House. They could have done that again. Yeah. They'd done it in 93 over the Intercontinental belt. And you could see there was still an appetite for it. And at a time when they were massively struggling for baby faces, Jannetty seemed like an obvious call, but just one that they never went with. We then get Bulldog, and out comes Bulldog. And again, he feels like a proper star at this point, you know. Slightly to do with, I think, the fact he doesn't play to the crowd. He's very serious and just sort of like, right, roll my shirt sleeves up, but fucking get to it. You know?
Fucking get on with it.
Yeah, let's have it. Let's have you. Come on. When the Bulldog comes in the background, Fatu clotheslines Steve Austin out of the ring. And that was a complete and total fuck up. Austin was supposed to be in the final four, and that was a way of building him. It's always been reported that he slipped on the rope and fell out while he was doing a spot with Fatu. But if you watch it, he doesn't slip. Fatu runs, he clotheslines Austin right over the top, and Austin absolutely throws himself over. There's no sort of little mistake there. He really buggered that up. As he goes out, he makes a signal to Shawn Michaels. He sort of does a slash across his throat. And he said he was trying to signal to Michaels. They had a whole section that would have happened. And he was like, I've really buggered it up. I've really buggered it up. I'm out,
mate.
In the weeks following the Rumble, the whole ringmaster gimmick, which was that he was a great technician and he was sort of cold, it didn't really get over with the fans. And that was the moment where Austin was like, I've got to do something. This whole company is tanking a bit. My gimmick is not very good. And he began laying the seeds for Stone Cold, which is a gimmick that you may have heard of. It did well.
It punched above its weight.
Yes. When Austin actually walks out as well, the last person is coming to the ring, and that's Duke the Dumpster Drosy. And to see Austin realising he's buggered up his big moment and then having to walk past a smiling bin man, wave, Binny! It must have just felt like the shit.
Do you want to get in the bin, ringmaster? Get in the bin.
What have I got in my bin? Oh, that's right, it's your career. We have the final four, who are the Bulldog, Kama, Diesel, and Michaels. Obviously, Kama was not supposed to be there. That was supposed to be Austin. Michaels wins the event by super kicking Diesel over the top rope. They never, as I say, show any clips from this in recaps. I had no idea that was how this match ended. I had no recollection of that super kick knocking him over. But this is one of the few times where the Royal Rumble hasn't gone on last. And I think it's slightly because of The Undertaker is challenging for the WWF title that they decide to stick that on afterwards. But what they do have is they have some sort of business. So as they get into the gangway, Diesel starts like beating up the Bulldog as he's going back. And then Doc Hendricks does a non-interview just shouting, Big Daddy! Big Daddy! Which I thought was worm behaviour from a dignityless Haynes, saying to a younger man, Big Daddy. You could have said Diesel. You could have said Big Daddy Cool, but you just went Big Daddy, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
While he's celebrating, Michaels actually exposes his entire bum. He does a proper moon halfway down his thighs.
He doesn't seem to sort of realise that if he goes any further, everyone's going to see pubes, balls,
back of balls, taint, a-hole, and furry snake betwixt lower back and bum. But maybe he does. That's the sort of obnoxious shit he was doing all the time. And so he does that, forgetting that, you know, he's not supposed to do that at work. And there's a woman who's watching it. She's right in its eye line, and she is slapping that guardrail like it's fucking Beatlemania. You know, if you're going to have, earlier in the show, Sonny pretend to show a little bit of upper thigh, then absolutely.
This is what happens.
For the ladies, for equality, Shawn Michaels will get out his back balls and bumhole, and everyone can have a wonderful time. They have a little bit where Diesel then comes back in, and they go for the high five, and they're pals again. And Mr. Perfect says, I'd have sucker punched him so hard it'd have been unbelievable. So I love the fact that Perfect still got that, how his character worked. I thought was really nice.
Right there, McMahon, if you sucker punched him so hard, it would have been unbelievable.
Shawn Michaels, victorious and going to WrestleMania.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for undressing me on
Okay.
TV. Appreciate it.
You asked! You could have asked and talked about something else.
Way to go there, right?
Perfect.
All right,